The most interesting man in world football has decided to take his talents to Manchester United. Of course, that in reference to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. And I don't think that this little news bulletin comes to too much surprise to anyone. We all kind of heard the rumor mill, and it did seem like Zlatan was slated, that this is where he was going to decide to go next. And it's one of those things now where we kind of are looking at an arms race between Manchester United and Manchester City. And of course, this Sunday, Manchester City will have their press conference for the first time, where they unveil basically to the world, where he'll speak publicly to the first time as the manager of Manchester City. And that, of course, is Pep Guardiola. And you have Pep Guardiola at Man City, Jose Mourinho at Manchester United. The arms race between the two of them, stockpiling players and just competing against each other. The two of them are going to define the next Premier League season, and I think it makes for such captivating storylines when you have these two gigantic clubs where they already just play and there's so much rivalry between them as it is, and now you add all these other implications and it just gets even better. But the question now is, what does Zlatan do for Manchester United? Does he put them as the title favorites? Now, it's an interesting thing, and we still don't have any of the details on the parameters of any deal. A lot of reports saying that he hasn't even signed a deal yet, or, of course, Man United haven't commented on this, but we can kind of read into this. It's true, Zlatan's going there, but he's 34 years old, and when I look at a guy like Zlatan, when you look at his physical makeup, I think clearly he's the right fit for the Premier League, and it's so difficult for players sometimes to make the jump from other leagues to the Premier League. And of course, he has never played in the Premier League before, has done some great things in the Bundesliga and Serie A. We know what he did at PSG. But going from those other leagues to the Premier League, it's a different world. We've seen it time and time again where a player who does some great things in another league can't replicate their success at the Premier League level. It is more physical, it is very deep, it is just a different style, and there's a ton of pressure. There's pressure everywhere, but I think in the Premier League, it's just a different world, and some people can't make that adjustment. But when I look at him physically, I think he has potential success written all over him. He is big, he has height, he has all the capabilities that you need to succeed in the Premier League, because in the league, you have to have a toughness to you. You just can't be soft. Soft strikers, soft players are not going to have success, because the officials in the Premier League, they're going to let you get away with more than you would in some other ones. They're not going to let you get away with certain dives and being a diva in certain ways. This is a tough league to play in. It's a big boys league, and you've got to be able to come to play. And I think when you look at Zlatan physically, that's not a concern of mine. I think he's an imposing force physically. He stands tall. Again, he does all those things well, and I think that could do very well in his favor at the Premier League level. The age is, of course, the thing that I think you have to look at. I think he did some great things at Paris Saint-Germain, but the gigantic drop-off from PSG to every other club in that league is substantial, and it doesn't matter who you're playing against in the Premier League. There are 7 clubs in that league that probably stand head and heels above everyone else, but you're going to get everyone's best every single match day, and it's a different world going from French Ligue 1 to the Premier League. It just is the level. It's the most competitive league in the world. I always say this, the best teams in the world, the best 2 are over in Spain, but the best league in total is in England. It's just the way it is. So it's a very different set of circumstances that he'll be operating around, but I still think you look at him, and it is a huge piece of weaponry to add to Man United's arsenal. Now, we've already seen Jose Mourinho and him work together during their time at Inter Milan. They're obviously very familiar with each other, and I think it's one of those things that United needs. United the last 2 seasons has been a very flat club. They haven't had much energy, much excitement coming out of their camp. Last season, it got a little bit better. Marcus Rashford, a young talent like that, obviously has to have people very excited, but this is the perfect kind of guy, and it's not just about what his play will do on the field. I think more than anything, it's just he's always a guy who has a comment. He's always a guy who's going to be able to say things, and I think Sometimes I question Wayne Rooney's leadership. I think obviously you can't take away anything he's done from a playing standpoint, but at times I think his leadership has been lacking, especially on a side like Man United, and I think we saw that as a reflection on the England national team, where he was really the veteran presence on that side, and that leadership was just nowhere to be found. Zlatan could fill that big hole and could be that leader, that veteran presence, and help Wayne Rooney out and take some pressure off of Rooney, where Rooney can concentrate more on the playing side of things. So Jose Mourinho is there. You've already got one of the top 3 managers. Man City is already got theirs as well. So the arms race between the two of them will be fun. I think Zlatan certainly makes Man United much more interesting. It just does come down to, does he put Man United in position to win the Premier League title next season? And I do think that it will be a race between Guardiola and between Jose Mourinho. The only thing that's good, that really it's going to come down to, is which manager can get their team to play their style quicker. Because we know it does take a lot of time, especially when you're so demanding, like a Guardiola and like a Jose Mourinho. They are so taxing on their players. Their system takes a while to get into. I think it really will come down to which manager can get their players integrated first. Man City is known for a long time. The players on the team have known since last February that their new manager was going to be Pep Guardiola. So that's given them a little bit more time, but obviously he hasn't been able to put his full staff together. Again, on Sunday, he will finally have his press conference, and then they can kind of get the wheels turning in motion. Man City's are already committed to some players for next season. Same thing with United, but we're really in the thick of it and getting closer and closer. So City's got a little bit of an edge on it as we speak, but Man United certainly has made the noise, bringing in one of the bigger players that are out there getting ready for the next season. And I think it's fun. I think it's not just what he will do on the field playing, but I think more than anything, it's the leadership and just the high level of energy that he brings. And certainly the storylines will write themselves whenever you have Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and Man United certainly needs those storylines. And they're just going to keep on rolling out. We are in store for an incredible season. Pep Guardiola versus Jose Mourinho, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Wayne Rooney, all the cast on Man United, with a manager who can put all that talent together and make the players accountable. I think Man United at Old Trafford is going to be a great year, and I think right across the street over at Etihad for Man City, it's going to be great as well. The two of them are in store for some classic battles, and as fans, we all win. But until then, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll see everybody next time.